that white audiences at least get it?
No.
I don't want you to say the exact answer that you get.
No, because the answer is no, and I also think that that's like no is a complete sentence.
No.
I think that no is enough.
Right.
You know, but I am gonna go into the detail. But that's one of the things too, where it's like, you know, like black people or white people just have a way of demanding energy and labor from you, whether like they can't get physical labor out of you anymore without, you know, putting you in jail.
Right.
So now they you know, in so many ways they find ways of getting emotional labor or intellectual labor out of you, because now you can't just tell them no. I don't even know why not. I'm trying to rationalize it. Now they want now you got to explain and spend, you know, X amount of hours, you know, or however much time there is, you know, breaking it down and explaining it and, you know, so on. And it's intellectual labor, and it's dishonest, I feel, because no is enough. And, you know, a lot of this, how much of our experience, like being black people in America, were we just not allowed to have things and we never really knew why. You know, and it's something we just learn to deal with. You know, you don't go on that side of town. You don't go to that town after you know, a certain hour. You just don't hang out with those people. You know, make sure, you know, it be because, and all of that because it was a literal means of survival.
Right.
You know, without, you know, a means of survival without, you know, having your child out here like just like paranoid. You know, it's like every second like thinking that, oh yeah, literally at any given moment, like I could be, you know, kidnapped and murdered or like sold into like some kind of trafficking or whatever. But then that's still like a reality that's real for a lot of us, you know.
So I think that's when like a lot of white people believe that that's no more. Like when you take white like class, well, when you say classes, public school classes, period. It's like, you know, slavery is watered down a lot. The whole Jim Crow thing is watered down. That's all put as the past. Like this was happening back then.
Yeah.
Things are different now. Y'all can do what y'all want, and everything is straight. I think that's when you get into they just say like we need to forget about the past. We need to stop living in the past. As soon as we bring up like, you know, when we try to tell them like, you know, it's not just that black people are poor. It's like a whole reason that, you know, black poverty exists the way it does. And they say stop living in the past. It just discounts all our arguments completely. So they just want to look at like right now, and it's like everything's equal right now. Because everything's equal right now in their minds anyway. Yeah. You should make content that we can accept as well, like we can consume as well. Yeah. And we can relate to as well.
Yeah. So the answer is no. And what I told him when I asked him beyond, he asked that question. I was like, why do you think you need to consume anything? Because, you know, really when you think about the act of consumption, like what is the act of consumption? Consumption is literally taking something that was created, destroying it, and then turning it into waste. Right. So why do white people feel that they need to consume black art? Like, why can't you, like, you know, so like you can appreciate black art. So like, why do you need? So then I would ask, like, why do you feel you need black art to include you or to pander to you to be appreciated by you? Because then it's like because the question isn't even it isn't about being able to consume or understand or appreciate. Is you just want to have it, you want to own it, you know. So yeah, I was like, why do you think you need to do that? If you truly appreciate what it is that I do, then you can support it without understanding it. And there's, you know, and you know, I think that goes for anybody. You know, honestly, and so really people, you know, you start seeing that people start using their presence and their involvement as a means of censorship. Right. You know, like, you know, and I mean, you see it, and it transcends. It's something that transcends just race, and it moves into every.
I was about to say that.
Yeah, every other like when there's any other way means of oppressing a class or a type of person. So in the same way that, you know, men try to, you know, degrade things that like women are into, or things that women do, or things that are exclusive to, I don't know, necessarily exclusive to women, but things that are traditionally seen as like things for women or feminine things, because it doesn't have anything to do with us. Right. Because, you know, so it's like, so we try to like, oh, that's just for, we try to like, you know, like discount that because it's not for, you know, it's not for men or straight people, for, you know, straight people looking at things that queer people do, right, and wondering why, you know, why this doesn't pander to whatever, you know, sense of, you know, like, you know, normative sensibility, like whatever. So, you know, I think that the people with privilege need to know when to just get out of the way and let live, and just let people, you know, let people have things that don't include them.
We just appreciate that the shit is happening. Like, that's what I don't understand. Like, I had went to a book signing. I can't remember this lady's name, but I literally was at work and just searching on Richmond Library's event list. And it was a West Indian author who was super popping. I cannot remember her name right now, but super popping. And she was having a book signing like right after I got off work. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I want to just go check them out, but I'm just trying to get to know authors and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And it was so much like West Indian culture in that building, you know. Mm-hmm. Like they had a little house in one of the rental houses in the Riverbanks Zoo. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about, you would have thought it was like a little piece of like a whole other country, bro. Like it was entirely different. It was just like them enjoying their culture. Mm-hmm. And of course you had the you know, white people that's, you know, kind of curating the thing. They had to wear the same garbs they were wearing. It's always been just kind of settled a little bit because, I don't know, just,
yeah,
you know
that same visceral reaction.
It's like, oh, here we go. You know what I'm saying? The way they say the name of it, it was like, you know, that's how you really like pronounce it right. Mm-hmm. But it was just like a little slight, and it's like all of them knew each other. Mm-hmm. All of them didn't know each other, like they just connected so perfectly. They had their food there, and it was like their slice of like life. And I could just like appreciate it. I ain't have to like get on the mic and talk or nothing, because they had like a little like you know, talk back part. I had to get on the mic or nothing. I ain't had to like, you know, I got to talk to the office for a minute, but I ain't had to like pull my book out. Like I just got to enjoy her shit. Yeah. And like I don't understand why you couldn't just do that. That's a beautiful thing to experience. Yeah. So.
And you answered this a little bit earlier, but is the stereotype that black consumers is the stereotype of black consumers not properly supporting black-owned businesses still valid, and should it be?
Yeah, my answer to that was no. Yeah, like because it's one of those things too, where it's like I don't understand that myth of like, oh, black people don't support black businesses. Well, who else are these black people selling stuff to? Because they certainly ain't selling it. Like you go to any random like black-owned shop on Broad River now, and I guarantee you, like a strong 98% of the patrons is black. Mm-hmm. Like, so black people are definitely supporting black businesses. Like, you know, and because I mean, yeah, like we do, and I think that that trope or whatever, that idea of, you know, well, why aren't black businesses on the level of like, you know, white enterprise? And for one, you got to understand where a lot of these white companies got their start and got a lot of their wealth off the back of good old black. Like a lot of these companies, originally like were invested in slave trades and been around since the 1800s. Got money from the exploiting slave labor, and then were able to take that wealth and still and invest their money in things that exploit black people, poor people, and other marginalized people. I feel like to look at like, oh, well, why don't we have black banks that are on the level of like a Wells Fargo or, you know, Bank of America, or why don't we have, you know, why isn't there a black Nike or a black Apple or a black, you know, Dell or HP or whatever? And it's because like what it takes for those companies to be so successful.
That's it's like compare like black shops to Walmart. That's nuts.
But it's like, do you know what Walmart does to people in order to have everyday low prices? Right. Like no, like it's insane. Like, you know, and for what it's worth, like, yeah, we're in a room surrounded with technology right now, but like, there is literally blood on all of this, on this microphone, on that computer, on that computer, like on the phones that we use. Like, there is African blood in all of that, and when they have to mine those resources, the copper and the aluminum and the zinc and the coltan and all that stuff that's needed to create these devices, like, it's off the backs of like free and cheap, like, exploited labor. Right. You know, the sweatshops in which people are exploited to put these things together. Right. And then, like, these industries thrive off of, you know, off of capitalism, the way it's practiced in this country, where, you know, somebody can work 40 hours a week and still not even afford, you know, things. And who is that? You know, it's poor people, but like, when you understand, like, we understand how, like, racism is a tool of class warfare. So it's like, we really kind of like we're catching it on so many fronts. Right. You know, that just is what it is. But nah, like, black people do support black businesses. Now, you know, I think that, you know, a lot of times when we try to critique, our situations as black people, are like, you know, the things that, you know, plague us, our community or whatever. A lot of times the first thing we try to do is blame us. Right. Well, why aren't black people supporting a black business and making that business successful? Because we can spend X, Y, and Z on, you know, whatever, you know, that's not a black business. But what we really need to be asking is, what systemic measures are in place that allow black businesses to fail easily, if that's what we're seeing? Right. You know, or what is it like, or like, what advantages do white-owned companies and businesses have that black companies don't have, and, you know, in the ways that they're successful? And, you know, for a lot of, you know, like, upstart, like, you know, successful white upstarts are owned by white people or whatever, like, they're already coming from wealth. You know, they're coming from generational wealth already, and they have a nest egg of, you know, like, what's this shit that Trump said, a small loan of $1 million from my father? Yeah. Like, nigga, let's be real. We could probably put together all the black people in this whole library and see if we can scrape together $1 million between, like, you know what I'm saying? And that's you know, really no fault of our own. Like, A, we haven't exploited anybody to get wealth. B, we, like, you know, and we haven't been, like, you know, we being actively excluded from wealth and wealthy things, and, like, you know, and opportunities to build wealth and financial wisdom. Yeah. And I mean, it is systemic, it is systematic, it is very, we didn't just happen upon here. You know, when we go back to, like, the Reconstruction era, and, you know, there are towns like, you know, like Tulsa, Oklahoma, or Seneca Village, and, you know, so many black towns that were literally burned to the ground because white people didn't want to see black people thriving. Right. Like, and then you think about, you know, even though, like, yeah, it was a style back then, but think of how many, like we understand that suits are, you know, are pretty much like par for course, like, business culture. Mm-hmm. You know, and even though, yeah, it was a style back then, men generally wore more suits, but, like, you see how many black men you see in suits, and why were those black men in suits and, like, hanging from trees? Because those were the ones, the bankers, the property owners, the, you know, the businessmen, the entrepreneurs, the people who held financialism and, you know, community building wisdom. There's a reason why black activists get targeted, because they hold the knowledge and the wisdom to be able to, you know, do certain things like that. That wisdom was like, they attempted to eradicate that. Right. So, like, you know, there's a reason why, like, you know, and it was stuff that I even saw in my own, like, learning my family history by doing my ancestry and stuff. It was just like, it seems to me like, you know, as a family, we were pretty good at one point, based off of, like, you know, where my great grandmother's house was and at the time, and it's just like, wow, we was living here with a property like this, then all of a sudden that house just went up in flames one day, and nobody talked about why that happened and where all that money went. I know I have stories from friends who, like their family owned, like, hundreds of acres in Louisiana, and that land was, like, pilfered, was, like, unrightfully, like, stolen because somebody was able to cook the books and the like the deeds to land, and all that land sits on like a Robert Trent Jones golf trail or whatever. And it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and nobody knows what happened, but like things like that, it happens so much.
Right.
So much. So it's like, you know, like all of that has to be taken into consideration. Like, of course, like we always support our own. Like, we've been on that. Like, you can't count on this white dude to cut my hair. Of course, I'm gonna go to the black barber shop. Like, you know, like they don't know how to like.
We go Supercuts.
Hey, I actually did go to Supercuts one time.
Oh man, how was that?
It was different. The only reason I went is because the white guy paid for it.
Oh,
I was like,
there you go.
Right,
There you go.
I'm not gonna try it if I gotta pay for it.
Yeah, man. So I get my hair cut. Yeah.
I could never. But you know what I'm saying? So like, there's a lot of those things. Like we're gonna, so we support black businesses because like black businesses know how to cater us and we do business differently. Yeah, like, you know, I think a lot of people like, oh well, you know, why do you always try to like wheel and deal in a black business, but you would never try to, you know, negotiate in a, you know, in a white business, whatever. But I mean, that's part of the experience. Like that's how we, you know what I'm saying? Like to being like, you know, to allow to like negotiate and find a medium where I need this. This is a need or a want of mine. This is what I have, and can we find a way to meet in the middle so we can both be happy? Like, what's wrong with that?
I had a meeting last night. We were just talking about bringing about the barter system. I told them I've been bartering.
Yeah.
Books and stuff. Like, I've been bartering like services. For like either for poets for performances or my book for their book.
Yeah.
Or products for products. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we just talking about all that stuff.
I mean, that's a much more like efficient system, like in a way that gives everybody access over like capitalism. Because you know, like when you're cash poor and like you live in a society where you can't do anything with, like, you can only obtain things with cash. So it's just like I have a lot more to offer than just money, like paper money. So like, you know, what I got like, you know, if I grow food, like I got hella food, like I can just give you some food in exchange, you know, or like I provide a certain service where I can give you the service you otherwise would have to pay for it. Your car broke down, I can fix your car and get you back on the road for you know, free to little or nothing, if you can, you know, provide this for me or whatever, you know, and that just makes sense. Like that's communal living. That's what we've been doing. Right. So like trying to adhere to like, and so there's another thing too. It's like there's a level of dysfunction in black business, black enterprise and entrepreneurship because like we're trying to conform to this very light, very capitalist society that we shouldn't even really be trying to like do that shit in the first place, but this is where we're at.
But I mean, like if all your resources, not your resources, but if like all your products, everything you get has to be purchased with cash.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like how would you even start to tear down that system? Like,
yeah,
it has to be somebody just.
And that's the grassroots. You know, we do it where we can.
Yeah.
You know, do it where we can, and just maybe it catches on. You know, maybe black people know that, yo, you know, if you shop down there, you know, he might, you know, he'll take care of you.
Got some good to trade with.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? He might take care of you. Even if you don't got nothing to trade at all, he cares about his people. Right. So, like, you know, he'll let you, you know, off the hook. And it's like, you know, we're about to operate with capitalism. Like, we know how, you know, we know the basics of you know, buying and selling products. You buy it cheap, you mark it up. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, we know these things. So, like, you know, there's room for that. So, you know, I think that, you know, it's revolutionary, honestly, to engage in bartering, engage in, you know, it's just engage in a economic system that doesn't put all the weight on just like on, you know, the dollar, like the paper dollar. Like we can do so much more without it.
You have to reach salespeople.
Mm-hmm.
Barter them vegetables for sex if you got to.
What?
I'm just playing this one.
That made sense to you?
It's a joke.
Did you hear either one of us laugh?
I heard myself laugh. It's not me.
You didn't even laugh. You was laughing in your head.
Wait, what did you say?
See, look, he didn't even hear.
I was scratching my ears.
So I was so mad.
He was scratching his ears. He didn't get it. So we're gonna bring it back in the episode. We're gonna close out the show with a joke again.
No.
All right, man. So we're gonna we're gonna run through these NBA playoffs because you said you give a shit.
We already know what's
All right, man. Here's my theory, okay? In an NBA playoff.
Here we go.
If the Cavs can win one in Golden State, they got a shot.
They got no shot, bro.
No, listen, they got a shot.
You know, you can't even look at me when you say this shit.
They got a shot.
What does one game do for them in either arena?
You heard it here first.
Y'all heard it here first. Warriors.
The Cavs can steal one at Golden State.
How?
They got a shot.
Chris, how would they even do that?
You beat in 5 games.
I knew it was going to too, but I knew it was going. I think I said Cavs in 5. You said, I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying the Cavs get swept. I'm saying the Cavs get
They gonna get swept. I got more faith. LeBron ain't gonna allow them to get swept. LeBron will die on the court before they get swept. Like, real talk.
LeBron's been swept before. Back in 2007.
Okay, man. LeBron's not get swept.
There's no chance that they win.
No. What'd you say the odds was in Vegas?
Bro, 650-point underdog. Bro, okay, so the only way they can win, like there's the only way they can win.
No way they can win.
Listen, only way they can win is they have to turn into like a different team. Like they have to use. No, listen, and I'm not being funny. All the athleticism they traded for at the trade deadline got to show up. Jordan Clarkson got to lock on to Steph Curry like glue.
Which is impossible. Okay.
Larry Nance got to play defense on KD because I don't know how that's going to happen. Because let's be honest, LeBron cannot play defense and put out that much offensive.
No, he'll literally his leg will break off.
Yeah. So I'm predicting just game 1 is tonight. It should start.
Yeah, where they playing tonight?
Golden State.
All right, so game 1 in the books for the Warriors.
No, I actually think the Cavs going to steal game 1. I think they're going to steal game 1.
Hold on, do you think they're going to steal it? Do you think the Warriors will give it to them and reserve their energy?
Why would you?
It's crazy.
That was the worst example.
No, because I mean, for and shit, they probably pay them don't they get paid more and more games? I heard that somewhere. I don't know if it's true. But no.
Yeah, KD making $30 million. Like $30 million.
But you can make a couple extra. Like, you gonna relax after you get this shit. You gonna put them home and relax.
Nah, fam. I think the Cavs win game 1, and I think the Warriors get 4. I think they win on the Cavs floor.
I said Cavs gonna win game 3.
The first one at home.
First one at home, they will win game 3. And it's gonna be because the Warriors won 2 games in a row, and that's the only reason is that they want to reserve their energy. They know they're gonna win the 2 games back to back. Know that this is gonna be another championship. Reserve their energy for game 3, and then come up and.
So is there any way that the Warriors lose?
If KD, Steph, and I was gonna say something terrible. I'm not gonna be as bad as it was, but and Thompson, they all get sprained ankles.
So my man Draymond don't get no respect.
Draymond ain't about to win no championship. Damn Warriors by themselves. If them 3 niggas that's trying to pass out, I don't know, oversleep. If they oversleep for the game, it's about to be bad. I feel bad, man. I love LeBron, dude.
LeBron is good. He's just he's facing the Monstars, bro.
But you can't call that because the Monstars ended up losing. So shit. No, this is about to be a wrap.
All right. So Mike's calling it winning 5. Warriors winning 5.
Will said sweet. Y'all see how disrespectful he is to LeBron James.
Warriors in 3.
He said 3.
Warriors in 3.
Well, you going to hell with that.
All right, man.
Wait, okay, so
And
for those of us that don't know jack shit about the NBA Finals, so I know how the playoffs work. All right, is it the playoffs?
It's the finals.
Yeah,
It's the finals.
Yeah.
What's the
once again, it's the
teams?
Warriors versus.
No, I know that. I know the teams. What's the standing like?
The finals start tonight.
Oh, they start tonight.
Yeah.
I was thinking that this shit was already over. I was seeing all these LeBron Thanos memes and shit.
Because LeBron has been inhuman. Like,
Yeah.
We had single-handedly brought the Cavaliers to the finals again.
Oh, word. This is the second time he's done that?
No, he's been to the finals 8 years in a row.
Yeah.
The final, like, with the Cavs?
Not with the Cavs.
Well,
Just LeBron.
Yeah, just LeBron. Yeah, LeBron did it 4 times with the Cavs and then 4 times with the Heat.
Damn, how many times did he win with the Cavs?
He won once with the
Once
Cavs.
with the Cavs.
Yeah, he won twice with the Heat, right?
Yeah.
He got 3 rings.
Yeah.
I know a little bit.
See?
All right, so
I know a little bit.
so, who is it? So it's the Cavs and the Warriors. The Warriors is what's his name?
They're Super Saiyans. Just say Super
The-
Steph
Saiyans.
Curry, Kevin Durant,
Oh yeah.
Klay Thompson.
Oh, we're okay.
This is not going to be a good series.
They're just a team of Super Saiyans versus a bunch of Yamchas, basically.
But the
Are
Krillin,
the Warriors?
He's a relative.
The Cavs are the Super Saiyans?
no, the
Cavs
Cavs
are the
have
Krillin.
Oh.
The Cavs have Goku.
So you think the Warriors are gonna watch them?
Cavs are literally, yeah, Cavs are Goku and a bunch of pedestrians.
No.
Warriors are.
Hercule.
They got Hercule. They got Hercule. They got what's his name? They got Bubbles, the monkey.
Yeah.
The Warriors have they won yet? That's far.
Warriors have won like every year for the past. What was it?
They won. No, they won last year. They lost the year before.
They lost before that, yeah.
And they won the year before that. So,
Yeah, word.
so hey man, it could be every other year. The Cavs go in this year. I don't know.
You know. Yeah, I mean, are you familiar with Kevin Durant?
Yeah, I'm a little bit, yeah. I don't know, I'm a LeBron fan, I guess.
Hey man, I think a lot of people are.
I mean, just off the sheer spectacle, like this dude is great. I'm like, why would you not cheer for this man? He's literally doing like,
Some people that hate.
yeah.
What they do is they find the little piece they can. Like anybody that hates on him, the first thing they call out is flopping. Which I haven't really seen him be super bad with that lately. But that's the first thing they say. He flops. He's a crybaby.
It's part of the game, isn't it?
And what, flopping?
Yeah.
I don't want that to be a part of the game. I don't want to condone that as being a part of the game. But that's the first thing they say. But they just do everything they can, and of course they just bring Jordan into the conversation. But
Oh, on the side note, you remember you said the other day about people sharing fake memes? I've seen so many fake memes lately,
what did it say?
especially in reference to basketball. It was like something about like LeBron James and had his stats right there, and it had Larry Bird's
That's
stats
what
right
the
there.
main fake should be.
Had Larry Bird's stats. It was like y'all claim y'all never seen anything like LeBron before, and then the Larry Bird stats were like better than LeBron's.
Right.
Bro, go fact check stuff before y'all put it out, people.
There's no time. I gotta get this shit out now.
Larry Bird average, less points, less assists. Bro, it was just so bad, like, and people just keep clicking. They
That's
keep
what they
sharing.
do.
They
That's
keep
what they
sharing.
do because it sounds good and it fits their argument. So it's like, yes, I told y'all.
So,
Humans, man, I don't fuck with them.
if I get enough of a following,
Right.
if I get enough of a following, I'm gonna start spreading lies about myself.
Go ahead.
Put myself on.
Put yourself on. Don't have like Photoshop pictures of you.
I'm gonna be like having sex with Rosie Divine.
Like, on
Drake,
the
yeah, I'm gonna be having sex with Drake baby mama before he did.
Hey, bro.
And my shit will be timestamped too.
You got too much time.
I know, right? All right. So speaking of that, oh yeah, we gotta get to this NFL shit real quick. All right. So the new NFL policy. I don't know if you heard about it.
Mm-hmm.
Players will be fined. Players will be penalized 15 yards if they kneel during the national
On the
anthem.
kickoff?
Before the kickoff. Before the game.
Well, yeah, like.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, when it was going to be enforced? I don't exactly know. I assume. I
At
would.
any random time, the other team can be like,
Yeah.
flip over that trap card, like,
30 seconds. Like,
that's the real race card.
I assume it's going to be after the kickoff.
Yeah.
So
Did they just like move the kickoff?
they did move the kickoff.
So like, the fuck does it even matter? Like, the game is going to it's going to be US.
They fell off over the past year.
But yeah, I guess I don't know if it fines teams. Is it fine teams exactly?
From what I read, and yeah, I think you corrected me. From what I read, it said it would fine the team if the player comes onto the field and kneels. Now they can stay in the back in the locker room during the anthem if they want to protest, and there won't be any penalties. They just stay in the locker room and then afterwards they can come out and play the game. But if they come on the field and kneel their ass down, then from what I read, it's a fine against the team, and then 15-yard ownership.
That's why.
Right. So me and Mike were out to eat, having a good time, and the shit stopped right here. And so, how do you feel about it? Like, would this move? First off, do you think the move is right and fair? And also, do you think that people should boycott the NFL for this move?
I've been boycotting NFL for a long time. So I feel like for a lot of people, it's just like, is this really the line for you? Because the line for me was like a long time ago. I mean, it's, you know, like a lot of it for me is like, I mean, I'm anti-capitalist. I'm anti a lot of like things, and like the NFL perpetuates a lot of like problematic shit. So like, I just choose not to, like, believe it or not. Even though like from our conversation earlier, I like the game of football. I do enjoy watching it. Like, it's fun, but like there's so much, like there's just so much more like involved in and the shit that makes it not enjoyable. So like, I mean, I think that if anybody has any reason to boycott the NFL, I say yes. Like, boycott the NFL for whatever you feel, because like the NFL, like, needs to be boycotted for like whatever reason you have.
So when did you stop watching, or was it a certain point, or you were just like, oh my, this is too much bullshit?
Man, like it was really like, I want to say, the way that I think it was like the way they was kind of handling like Marshawn Lynch made me just kind of stop.
with the talking during
like that shit. But then it's also one of those like retroactive things where it's just like the more I kind of think about it, the more I kind of realize like, man, this shit's been fucked up for a minute. Like the Kaepernick shit, like I wasn't fucking with, but by that point I was already, you can't like boycott something extra hard. Like
They done
I'm not protesting the Carolina State.
Yeah, like I'm not doing all that. Like
it's not even NFL playing.
Yeah, like I mean, just from I was over it. Like I was over it with like, you know, I've been over it with like because of the Patriots. Like Tom Brady and like I've been over it for a while, but like I think the rule is like it's fair, but like not because like not for I don't like that rule, because even though it's fair in the grand scheme of the NFL, where it's like you just don't have to come out here, it's still effectively silencing the protest. Right. And the whole point of the protest. Yeah. And it's just like, that's the thing. It's like, that's what, like, you know, these systems will do, is that they will just make it comfortable. That's what I'm saying. Again, as long as it's comfortable, then we don't have to look at things. Right. Like, athletes who are advocates, particularly pro-black advocates like Marshawn and Colin and, you know, all the people that I guess like support them, were making them uncomfortable because they're making them think about like, y'all are racist. Like, and this whole thing is racist. The whole NFL as a spectacle to reinforce like jingoism in American culture is, and I'll explain that word for the listeners who might not know. Like it's just like, I was just over that. Jingoism is just like it's like the culture of like the military. It's like military culture, and like the undying like support of that, and just like you know, just like this belief in like military might as just like something to, you know, take pride in. Like that's like jingoism. And like, you know, it's how much this military propaganda exists, and like all of this shit is like, oh, this is just a game. Like, but every like, you know, there's like 30 minutes dedicated to fucking flag shit and flame flies and soldiers all over the fucking place. And
what's great is the protest is against the military. Like,
it's not at all.
Yeah, right. And that's the thing too. It's like motherfuckers keep trying to make it like they're intentionally like misconstruing the whole point of the protest, the kneeling protest, to make it about that, but it's not even about that. So they're still not even addressing or acknowledging the thing, and you know what I'm saying, the whole point of the protest. So it's just like it's moot. Like, so it's kind of like, you know, it would have been cool if, like, you know, maybe the NFL put, you put invested money or invested money or resources in, organizations that sought to mitigate the disparities in the ways that law enforcement treats black people, which is what the protest was about.
Right.
But like they didn't do any of that. They just like well, how about we'll just stop? How about like instead of just go away. If you don't have to look at it, you can deal all you want.
Okay, see, not really in the NFL defense. They did set up that program through. They did set up that program through what was it called? The Players Coalition.
Uh-huh.
They negotiated something where they were going to give the Players Coalition $93 million for community activities. Is that in third?
How much?
$93 million. I want to say.
Oh.
It was a pretty decent amount.
Word.
But anyway, so we had different viewpoints on this.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to guess, who do you think was on the side of the NFL?
I honestly don't know.
You don't know?
Was it you?
I was on the side of the NFL.
And he put us back out. Let me tell you something. It was real, bro. Kanye came out.
The whole thing. He came out, played one note.
Okay, my whole point is the fact that the NFL is a business. Mm-hmm. Business is not all the time fair to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
My viewpoint was that if the NFL felt like kneeling for the flag was costing them viewership, which ends up costing them money, the business has every right to do what they feel is within, their power to, stop that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like they were shutting the calls up totally.
And they
well, okay, let's say
they
weren't directly shutting up the calls totally.
They were.
They tried to.
No, because my opinion is that these players get an after game interview all the time. You can express it then. You know what I mean?
But no, you can't though.
Why not?
Because the ways in which they sanction they sanction players' behavior like outside of just the game itself.
But at the same time, like nobody who has a job is allowed to just do what they want while at their job. You know what I mean? Like unless you work for yourself.
Yeah.
I can't go to my job and protest. I can't just kneel in the fucking middle of the room when I feel like it. You can.
You can.
Them white folks will say
You just
something.
don't want to. Right. And why?
But I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? Like, if it becomes a business.
It is now 8:30 p.m.
Yeah,
The library will close in 30 minutes.
She's like, let me go shut this
If you're
shit down.
planning to check out items and do not have a Richland Library card, please visit our checkout desk on the first level at this time. The checkout desk, including the self-checkout stations, will close in 25 minutes. All computers will automatically shut down at 8:55. Please remember to save your work to a flash drive and complete all training before the computers shut down. The library will open tomorrow at 9 a.m.
You ain't said.
I'll make my point and then we're gonna move on. Oh, you done? Okay. So I feel like any business has the right to protect itself from any loss of revenue or whatever.
But that's capitalism.
But that's where we're at, though. You know what I mean?
So why are you so vested in capitalism?
I'm not vested in it.
Yeah, you are.
No,
That's literally you saying
No,
that
I'm
you
not
believe.
invested in it.
You just said that you believe that a business should have the right to protect its capital by any means necessary. That is the definition of capitalism.
Okay, so what? That's where I'm at.
That's my whole thing. Like, I'm anti that shit because like where's the line drawn? Where do you draw the line? Violations of human rights? Is that where you draw the line? Because it's like if you draw the line at the violation of human rights, and we have a right to free speech, and they're clearly violating that by censoring people who have a very legitimate gripe about the country we live in.
But no job really gives you the right to free speech while at the job.
That's a violation of human rights.
But okay. I agree. I'll agree to that. But everybody accepts it in all these other situations. People, these jobs that say you can't curse or you can't, say
But
whatever.
that's a false equivalency because we're not talking about cursing. We're talking about people making a statement about
But you're saying
people being murdered.
You're saying free speech, right? Like free speech is free speech, no matter how you.
No, it's not.
I think your point
because it's like free speech isn't just free speech. Like that term alone, the whole notion of that is it's weighted because a lot of times people try to equate free speech to like I should be able to be a Nazi and I should be able to like be BLM. Like those two things aren't equal on opposite ends. Like like you can't.
You would be a white supremacist would be the same reason somebody would be black.
Like pro-black, yeah, it would be BLM, yeah, it's not the same thing. And a lot of people try to draw that false equivalency when we talk about like free speech, but like, that's not it either. So it's just like, and this is why I just stopped watching because I was just like, like it's just like it's a legit like moral dilemma, and it's like for why to be entertained. Like,
I understand.
And then it's just like, then at the same time, it's just like, I mean, shit, there's so many other things that, like, I entertain myself with that are problematic. So like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, shit, like, I boycott NFL, but, like, I'll be playing the hell out of PlayStation. And, like, everything I just said about, like, about technology and where they get their shit from, like, and it is the world we live in, but, like, I guess it's, like, it becomes, like, I'm actively trying to divest, where I can.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I'm not about to just throw everything away and just like, you know what I'm saying? Then what? Like,
at the end of the day, you black in America, like it's hard to like.
Yeah, it's like damn if you do and damn if you don't, and then what? Like go back to Africa, like. But I mean, they're like white supremacy is very much alive there too. So then what? They just want us to, and that's the thing. That's the whole thing. Like they just want us to not exist. They want to make the world so uncomfortable for black people that we just would rather die than live here. And they're not getting that out of me either. But at the same time, though, like I mean, to me, football is not important. It's not. So I can let that shit go. And like, and so many other things. But fucking Borderlands is kind of important to me because that's how I unwind. Like, so like I'm like it's maddening. It's truly maddening trying to wrap your head around like the things you can do or can't do and vice versa.
So that's what I think most of all is like you just shouldn't judge. Like I'm getting tired of people throwing judgment at others for not boycotting certain shit when you do similar shit.
Yeah, there's other things that you could. But at the same time though, like how powerful the statement would be to like just take all the wind out of the NFL.
That's what I was saying.
And just like it'd be like, you don't want to treat black people right? Well, fuck you, watch your shit die.
That's what I was
like. And we do have the power to do that.
Yeah, I agree.
We do have the power to do that, especially with the NFL. Especially with how much presence and like how invested black people are, particularly in the NFL. Right. Like if we literally all just like fuck that. We're not gonna do it. Then what? What are you left with? White players? Who's watching that?
A bunch of Joe Flacco's out there.
Yeah, nobody's watching that.
I still want to see players protest.
I would like to see a mass walkout, but I also understand that. But at the same time, though, I understand that playing professional ball has been a way out for poverty for a lot of black people, and I gotta, I'm not gonna fault them for that, because we're all just trying to navigate and escape poverty, like however we can, But I mean, shit, man. I guess it's a pick or poison thing. It's a pick or poison, and I guess that's just the poison I'm not gonna pick.
I got a pen. Shut up, punk ass. All right. So before we get out of here, we gotta talk about all this Pusha T great stuff.
Yeah, we gotta.
All right. So Pusha T's album came out. What was it? Last Friday.
I think so.
Yeah, last Friday. He dropped a track. Well, there was a track on there called Infrared.
Flames.
Yeah, it's a dope track. He lightly talks about Drake.
He tapped him.
Yeah.
Like, hey, come for you. Hey.
Yeah, he lightly talks about Drake. I can't remember the bars. But anyways, Drake responded.
The whole hissy fit.
Yeah, Drake.
That was a nice hissy fit though.
Drake responded with Duffy freestyle. Hella dope. Yeah. Took a lot of shots at Kanye. A few shots at Pusha T. And so everybody's like, oh shit, Drake, this, that, and the
Oh, here we
third.
go again.
Yeah.
Phase rage.
Yeah. Drake dropped that on, I want to say he dropped that on Saturday? Saturday. Anyways, what was it, Memorial Day? Or was it day after Memorial Day? It might have been Tuesday.
So Pusha?
Yeah.
That was last night. It was no, the night before that.
It was Tuesday, yeah. Tuesday.
Good Lord.
Pusha dropped the story of Adidon. And it's...
Nah, yeah. I've heard
Man, was
it
he,
a few times.
he was like looking at me like flashbacks like.
And so like it's really, I gotta give this nigga this, bro. It's really dope because it starts with the artwork. But it starts with the artwork and shit, bro. Like
that was damn.
I'm telling you, man. Cause like I follow Pusha T and I was just scrolling down Instagram. I'll never forget, bro. I was in my room, like just put Mackenzie to bed, my daughter to bed. I was in my room scrolling down Instagram looking for some IG buns. And and I saw like, oh, Pusha T put out something new. And I said, and it was this thing in blackface. I didn't know it was Drake at the time.
I thought it was some white dude.
I thought it was like Photoshop or like a white dude that kind of looks like Drake or something. But I'm like, that's how shit is actually. And then like the dialogue, I see some tea. Like I be looking, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna look for more. Like I'm gonna look for an explanation. It was like people like, yeah, that's really Drake. He really did this shit. Like this is why.
Man, buddy said link in bio. I went there immediately. And yeah, man, y'all had flames. So, anyway, what bar hit hardest for you in both songs? Because
I like how light infrared was because I just knew this shit was coming. I like the whole baby line, like niggas looked at him crazy for trying to kill a baby, but like he really killed a baby.
I'm talking about the other two, the actual diss.
So W.
Okay, we'll just give me one from Push, cause
I give you one, but bro, that's like the whole thing, really. Shit. The thing with his moms and dad, that's when like I knew shit was going on.
That whole concept?
When he started off going at his parents. And like everybody knows Drake been talking about his tumultuous relationship, his parents' tumultuous relationship and everything like that. And the way he talked about his damn dad and the way he connected, the nigga said his mom was getting dogged out. First of all, you don't come from mom. This nigga said your mom's getting dogged out. And you putting on your dad with these damn Steve Harvey suits.
Man, Push's like the story added on.
Yeah, added on.
That shit was so comprehensively disrespectful.
Like so many levels.
Like it was masterfully crafted, even though it's like hella problematic. Like there's a lot of shit, and there's a lot. Cause honestly, it's like I'm watching this for the spectacle, but I don't have a dog in the fight.
I guess I want some shit that's problematic.
But it's just like, I mean, for what it's worth, they both can really kind of go to hell, like for the ways they do things and like just all of that shit. It was, but man, like Push was so like it's comprehensive.
Bro, I'm telling you,
this
my favorite line. Man said 40 hunched over like he 80.
That was
that man is 6'6". I know how much time he got. Tick tick tick.
Shit, we going about his hair texture and how he ain't black enough to.
That shit. Talking about how he never grew an afro because it wasn't enough.
That shit was light
compared to the rest of the shit.
But I mean, I feel like that's the shit. I feel like when you really think about like, you think about like Drake's like story and all of that shit. Like then you think about all of that and how his experiences as a biracial, tragic mulatto, baby. Light skin, like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like that's the shit that hurts. Cause it's like, man, like you going on that childhood.
I mean, is that the
inadequacies you feel like? I feel like going at it because it's like, I feel like Pusha put Drake out there in such a way that it's just like invalidated so much of what Drake like works hard.
Yeah, and that's what people
which is his blackness. And I feel like Pusha invalidated that shit and then to expose him even further with that fucking cover and shit. Was just like, damn, like Push literally was just like, nigga, you not even one of us. And that shit to like, that's like Drake can never come back from that because it's like, bro, he literally pushed this man out of the community on some like, you're not even black enough to like have this conversation. You shouldn't even be here. Like, who that shit was cold.
See, like another
that
thing,
shit was cold.
I was listening to something and they were talking about like how Push did the whole mom and dad shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then like after he talked about the baby, it was like, bro, you're doing the same thing to the mother of your child.
He poured into the whole shit.
Oh, bro, that's
Generational trauma.
Come on. Well, Push is in like top 10 MC's conversation. Like,
so I guess the biggest question now is, did he go too far?
I don't think. I'm like you as far as rap beef and as far as stand-up comedy. My rule is like, there's no rules. Like, if shit is problematic, niggas not gonna fuck with you, then you know not to say that shit no more.
Yeah, like,
but like,
you can't say that on a regular track, but
yeah, you can't be. Yeah,
niggas ain't never gonna not fuck with somebody for saying problematic shit.
yeah.
That's a thing. But like, unfortunately, there isn't a too far unless you like get on some wild like MAGA shit like Kanye. But even still, like there are still plenty of niggas defending them. So
yeah,
like,
bro, I'm still playing that Lippy song.
So I'm gonna real quick. We run out of time. So I don't know if you know, but Drake put out damn notepad response so far.
That shit was so ugly.
I haven't seen it yet.
It's just whack ass.
Don't do it, bro.
So there's a little notepad response.
He lost it. It's a rap. He start making statements.
It's
You got a
real
week.
close to
You
a
got a
loss.
week. You got a week.
It's real close to a loss.
Nah, he don't have a week. He don't have a week because look how quick he came back with a W freestyle.
But see, he got a whole reason for all that. But he got a week because to get a formidable response to push this track. That's why I give him a week. You can't just make another W freestyle. That shit ain't enough.
But I mean, how long did it take Push to drop that though?
He already had that shit in the vault, bro. Like he already had that.
No, bro. Those bars were so intricate.
But no,
He probably put some new shit in there, but he already had
that shit was, all those punches were ready.
But see, that's the thing though. Like, if you playing this game and Drake be playing this game, then like you should have shit in the vault. And then this thing too, this beef isn't new. Like Cash, the whole like Good Music, Cash Money, like Young Money, like beef has been going on for like a long time.
Like I was telling, before the show started, Drake's been at the top where he could like choose his opponent at this point. Like he could choose to respond to me. Plenty of other rappers have come for him. He's ignored a lot of them. He's chose to respond to Common. Like he can choose who he wants. When you push and you shoot at the top, like you already ready, you got your ammunition and everything, you prepared. So when you at the top, you ain't been preparing, and you finally decide to respond to somebody, you're not going. That's at the same level of preparation. So that's why I'm giving him this week, because like there's no way he can be prepared.
I don't know.
There's been enough bad blood between those two camps for there to have been.
Well, you Drake, you popping, you know, worldwide tours.
I said the same thing during the Meek shit. I was like, y'all sleep on Drake because y'all were saying that Meek had, but y'all were saying that Meek had a chance.
I didn't say Meek had a chance.
At 8:45 p.m., the library will close in 15 minutes. If you're planning to check out items, please go to the checkout desk on the first level at this time. The checkout desk will close in 10 minutes. All computers will automatically shut down at 8:55. Please remember to save your work to a flash drive and complete all printing before the computer shuts down. The library will open tomorrow at 9 a.m. Thank you for visiting Richland Library. We look forward to seeing you again.
I was saying that Drake is from a battle rap background. I was saying this shit during the Meek thing.
Is he?
Yeah, he like president, like there's a thing in Canada called King to Die battle rap. He's like there all the time. He funds some of them. Second, third. Like he is a deep background in battle rap. So he's ready, bro. I don't think Drake would have started this without having the means to end it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Give him a week, bro.
Yeah, give him a week. I don't know about the week timeline. The timeline seems too hard. Niggas got real shit going on.
They do, but if I'm saying if you wait longer than a week, then
how long was the ether and
I don't.
That can't apply here because like we're in a different technology speeds shit up.
Right.
This whole shit could have taken like a month, if not longer, to transpire if we weren't rocking on the air.
That's what I'm saying. Like you look at Meek's response. Meek waited too long with that. I don't even remember the name of this shit.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So if Drake puts out a response, right, and it's not like flames, it's just okay-ish, right? It's just okay-ish. It just keeps him in the fight. Do you think like posts between like IG shit, like just IG back and forth shit would work, like to keep the feud going?
Like, no, it's
The feud, but as far as like the
Push, like literally has nothing else to say. It is literally Drake's move.
Yeah, man, he got plenty more to say.
Like, it is Drake's move. That nigga's in check. He is in check.
He ain't checkmate yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, he's in check. It's not checkmate, but it's just like, man, like, it's checkmate after a certain amount of time.
It
like,
is.
It's checkmate after a certain amount of time. Like, but at the same time, is it even really, like, even though, like, Push, like, won this, like, like, even for, like, he wins this beef or whatever, but, like, it's not the end of Drake's career. Ain't nobody about to stop listening to Drake over this. Ain't nobody gonna stop listening to Push over this. There are plenty of reasons why you should.
I think Push has everything.
I think because like, and I'm not even like pro Push, because like he fucked up for that damn album cover. Like,
I think
you know what I'm saying? It was like, let's not forget that shit. Like,
I think he let like Kanye like just have his way with that.
Yeah, but even still though, like,
no, I'm not saying
he could have drawn a hard line.
There was a picture of Whitney Houston.
The bathroom she died in. And it's just like, man, that's so funny.
Kanye paid $85,000 to get that picture on there.
But if somebody fucking put the operating room that Donna died in, ooh, you know what I'm saying? It's like, that shit should be all. This shit should be like.
That's what Drake needs to do.
Bro, Drake does it.
But then that's also like Drake kind of moving the goalpost.
Bro,
damn.
What if Drake was next to the doctor smiling? What if Drake was next to the doctor in the room?
Damn, I promise.
By the grave of
I don't think Drake got that kind of savage. He can't have that type of. He can't have that level of savage.
Boy, you gotta have some nuts on you.
Boy, you better.
I mean, that's the shit too, where it's like, bro, shit, like there's an unspoken line in rap beef because like shit is really real.
I don't know.
There is. I feel there is.
I feel
there is.
You across.
If you like, there's certain things that you wouldn't say to a nigga in real life because you know those consequences. I don't know, man. There are consequences. I'm just saying it is.
There was a line pushed across that already. So
yeah, definitely.